everyone. In this video we're going to be setting up a Jumpbox, and we are doing this on, of course, Fedora Linux 43, and we'll be doing it in a VirtualBox VM. Along with the Jumpbox, we'll also have another VM that we'll use as our test client the test client that we'll be accessing through the Jumpbox, I guess is the best way to put it. So let's see. I think first thing we need to do is create a user on the system, on the server. So let's do a sudo user add -m-s and in bash, and we'll name our user jump user. All right. This is the account we'll use when we access the jump server. So let's go ahead and hit enter. And let's see. Okay. All right. Next thing we need to do is set the password for this user. So we'll do a password jump user. And let's just name a password for now. And password. In real life, you'll use, obviously, a more complex password. And, right, we're done. Okay, so our next step will be to create a key pair, a public-private key pair. And we will do that on our Windows system here. Let's see, PowerShell. And from here, we will do a SSH keygen-t. And let's see, ed. We'll name our key ed 25519. Then we'll do a -C, and we'll call this Jumpbox key. Enter. And enter file on which to save the key. And let's go ahead and hit enter. Enter a passphrase. There are other ways to do this, but if you want to access the Jumpbox without a password using this key, then you would leave this blank. If you add a password here, every time you access the Jumpbox, it'll prompt you for a password. It won't automatically log you in, but I believe there are at least a couple of other ways to do this same thing. But I think we'll go ahead and just leave this blank, and we'll do it this way. Enter, enter. Okay, so now that we've created our key pair, our public-private key pair, we need to copy that over to our Jumpbox. So let's go ahead and start that process. We're going to use the PowerShell. Oops, let's see, let's go to PowerShell. There it is. And let me move this down here. And let's go ahead and do a dir. We have our .ssh directory. This is where our keys are stored when they're created. So let's do a cd .ssh, let's do a dir. Okay, and there's our public key. We'll be copying this over to the other system. So let's go ahead and, it's a long command, so hopefully it comes out okay. So we'll do a cat id ed 25519 .pub, and then we'll pipe that to SSH jump user at, and then the IP for our Jumpbox, which is 192.168.151, and we'll do a quote umask 0077 semicolon make directory -p .ssh, another semicolon, and we'll do a cat .ssh / authorized keys, and we'll do a echo key copied. And then the closed double quote. And I think that is it. So let's go ahead and try this and see what happens. And we've connected successfully. We need to accept the request to continue connection. So yes, And this will be our jump user's password, the one we created in the first step when we created the user account on the Jumpbox. So this will be password in this case for simplicity. And it says key copied, so it looks like we're good. And let's go ahead and move on to the next step, which is logging on to the Jumpbox, which we're at on this in this terminal. So over there, and then changing the permissions on the .ssh folder and the authorized keys file. So let me do a ls-la so we can see our hidden folders. And I'm logged in as demo, so let me do a su. Oops. Let me do a Control-C. See if this works. Okay, so now we're the jump user. We switched users to the to our Jumpbox user or jump user. So let's do a ls-la, and there's our .ssh folder for all of this was created when we ran that command on the other terminal to copy the key over, so the public key over. So let's do a 600 for, actually that should be 700, which it is, and that umask in the long command in the other terminal is what set the permissions for that .ssh folder. So that's already taken care of, so let's cd into it. And this authorized keys should be 600. And it is 600, so we're good there. So we can go ahead and do a cd back to our jump user directory, do an ls and see what's in there. Nothing. And that's it for copying that key over and then making sure the permissions are set properly on that folder and then that authorized key file. If they're not set properly, then it will prevent the connecting to the server from our other system from being successful. So, or make it at least not function the way we want it to. So that's important that the permissions on those two things are set correctly. All right, and our next step now will be to set up our secure shell config file. We're going to use our own custom file for this, so we'll go ahead and work on that next. Okay, so let's go ahead and cd into our secure shell config directory or folder. And let's see, I'm not going to cd into it. We're just going to vi our file in that folder. So let's do get some focus here first. Sudo vi etc ssh sshd underscore config.d, and we'll name our config file 01-jumpbox.conf. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. Bet you I haven't added them to the sudoers file, so we won't be able to sudo. That is correct. So I'm going to go ahead and exit from here, drop down back into our demo user, and then I'm going to run the command for adding this user, give it sudo access. So let's do a sudo usermod -a lowercase uppercase g wheel, and then our user, which will be jump user. And we should be good now. So we should be able to su back up to jump user. And let's do a groups. And wheel is the user that, or the group that you need to be added to be able to sudo. And we're good there now. So let's go ahead and arrow up. Get back to our command here. Okay, we've opened our file that we're going to update or create. And let's see, first thing we need to do is put in port. That'll be 2222 It's going to be the non-standard standard secure shell ports 22. We're going to make this 2222 so it's less detectable with like port scans and things like that that are run against systems to try and compromise them or infiltrate them. So, all right, so let's go ahead and hit enter. Next one entry will be password authentication. And that will be, for now, yes. So we don't lock ourselves out of our VM in case something's not configured, or out of our Jumpbox in case something's not configured correctly. We'll still be able to log in with username and password if our certs are misconfigured somehow. So let's go ahead and hit enter. So this will be pub key authentication. So and that will be yes. And I think in this line here, I believe this might be a lowercase k. To escape X. Pub key authentication, yes. Okay, escape. Now let's do O. And we'll do a permit empty password. No. Permit root login, no. Next line will be allow users, and that will be our jump user. And let's see, client alive interval. We'll set that to 300. Client alive count max. Typo. Set that to 0. And let's see, X11 forwarding. No. And then allow agent forwarding, no. And we can go ahead and do a escape, right quit. Escape : right quit, enter, and we should be good there. Next thing we'll do here is we'll configure SE Linux. So we'll do a sudo dnf install -y or dnf-y install, whichever, all works. I think that's the whole command. It's a policy core utilities -python -utils. You may or may not need this, but do it anyway in case you do. If it's already there, it'll say nothing to do. Okay, so complete. Now let's do a sudo, do an se manage port -a-t ssh.port _t -p space 2222 and enter. Let's see, what did I miss here? I'm guessing that's probably underscore. Port options needed for add. Okay, so what am I missing here? Let me check this out. Let's do oh, I got it. Let's try that. Got to be TCP or UDP. In this case, I believe it's TCP, so enter. Okay, and third time's a charm, so let's go ahead and put that in the right position. And enter. Okay, jeez. Now let's do a restart the secure shell daemon, SSHD, so it'd be systemctl restart and SSHD. So let's go ahead and do that. Good. And then let's do a status. SSHD. Failed to start, huh? All right, let's see if we can figure out what's going on here. Let's See if this shows us anything. One bad option in the config file, so let's go ahead and go back to there. We can arrow back right there. Let's go ahead and just comment that out for now. We can come back and check that out later. So we'll do an escape. Right, quit, escape, and let's go ahead and do a restart of this. Let's do a status check again. And it looks like we're running now. And we're listening on port 2222. Let's do a netstat. Oh, it's not there. Yeah, this is a minimal install of the OS, so some of the utilities aren't there. But anyway, we've configured SE Linux and we've successfully started the secure shell daemon back up again, or service back up again. Let's go ahead and edit our firewall. So we'll do a firewall command, add port equals 2222 TCP, and we'll make that perm. Let's see, what did I do here? No, so I typoed it. Get back to my, come on. Add dash port, success, jeez. So this stuff doesn't work perfectly all the time. And if you do this long enough, you'll know that you'll just, without even realize it, and you'll have typos that you'll have to go back and correct. So don't expect perfection. All right, now let's do a firewall command reload, and that will reload all of the firewall settings and apply the new ones that we just put in, or activate them, whatever you want to call it, and we're good. All right, so that's it with system configuration. Our next step will be to install a package called fail2ban, and then we'll configure that for our next step. So let's go ahead and do a sudo. Actually, let's clear this stuff out. It's getting too messy. Let's do a sudo dnf -y. I usually do -y install instead of install -y, just because, no particular reason. And let's see, fail2ban. And we'll hit enter. Okay. Ooh, that was kind of weird. And complete. So let's clear this. Let's do a sudo, or not a, yeah, sudo vi etc fail2ban. I don't think this file exists, so we're creating that file right now. Okay, hit insert, and we'll do a bracket, default close bracket. And what am I doing here? All right, next line will be, we'll tab this, we'll do a 4 over, I guess. We'll do a ban time equals 1h, it's just 1 hour. Find time 10 minutes. I guess those are minutes. Hour, minute, yeah. And max retry equals 3. Next will be, I guess the default is the only SSHD enabled equals true. Port equals 2222. Backend equals systemd, and we'll do an escape, right, quit to save this file, and we'll do a sudo systemctl enable now fail2ban. Okay, and now let's do a fail2ban-client status SSHD. See what we get from here. Okay, so these are stats for people that try to access the Jumpbox that aren't authorized to do it. It records those events here. So let's do a regular system CTL so we can make sure our process is running or our service is running correctly. And let's see. And there it is. We're enabled. We're running. Everything looks good here. So our service it says ready. So looks good. It's clear. Okay, and our next step is to test this portion of our configuration to make sure we can. And in the beginning, I said the machine that we're going to be jumping into through this box is the client, but it's not. It's the host. The client is the one that I'm using on my end, that I'm logged into, that I'll be connecting to the Jumpbox with, and then from there connecting to the excuse me, host on the other end. So anyway, we need to make sure our client can connect to the Jumpbox here. So our Windows machine here can connect to the Jumpbox, and then we need to configure the client on the other side to make sure that we can jump from the Jumpbox to, or connect from the Jumpbox to the client or to the host on the other side. So that will be our next step. Let's go ahead and move on. First thing we need to do is test our connection from our client machine, the Windows machine here, to our Jumpbox. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's do a secure shell, and this will be jump user at .1.51, and let me see. I think that's it. That's all we need to do a secure shell connection. So let me go ahead and enter, and maybe one day it'll connect. Connection timed out. Let me see if this is actually still running. It is running, so, and it's active. Oh, you know why? Let's do a colon. We changed the port to 2222, so let's see if this helps. No such host name. Let's try it this way. -P2222. And okay, so we got the right syntax for the command. So you see here that we've successfully jumped into the Jumpbox, or connected to the Jumpbox without using a password, using our certificate that we configured. So at the very end of this, when you're done testing everything out and everything works, you'll go back into the secure shell config file, and where it says login with password, you'll change that to no. So it'll exclusively use this key to connect to this Jumpbox. So that's good. Let's do an exit. Okay. Now our next step is to configure our host. All right, so I had to step away. So if my windows or my terminals are out of whack from where they were a second ago or a minute ago, then that's why. Let's see. So our final step here is to copy our. Okay, so just to clarify, our deployment here, we're using one key pair. So it's the private key on the local machine here where I'm PowerShelling, and then the public key is copied over to the jump user or the Jumpbox, and then the public key is also copied over to the host on the other end. So we've already copied the key over to the Jumpbox. Now our final step here is to copy the key over to the host on the other end. You can't do this with two keys too. You can do a key pair from two key pairs. You can do a key pair from the local machine to the Jumpbox, and then on the other end you can do another key pair from the Jumpbox to the host at the end. But we're going to do it this one key pair method. So let's go ahead and copy our key over to the host machine. We'll use the same command we used when we copied it over to the Jumpbox. So let's do a cat underscore or ID underscore ed 25519 .pub. Pipe that to SSH, and let's see, this is the demo user on the host machine. So demo at 192.168.1.52, which is the IP address for the host machine. And let's see, we'll do a umask 0077 semicolon make directory -p dot ssh semicolon cat dot ssh / authorized keys, and then echo, and then the final closed double quote. So in theory, this should copy the key over to the host machine. So let's go ahead and hit enter. Password is the password for our demo user. And key copied. Okay, so good. Now let's go ahead and connect to it. .52, just so we can clear out the initial prompt you get when you first log into a system and they ask you to accept the connection or whatever. So let's go ahead and hit enter. And okay, so I guess they didn't have to do that. Normally it prompts you like it did before to accept the connection, but apparently we're good. So as you can see, we're logged into as the demo user into the test client, and we used which is the host on the other end, and it just went straight through without any authentication, without asking for a password. It used the certificate as the authentication method. So let me do an exit. So in order to test this, we need to run a command that connects us to the Jumpbox and pushes us through the Jumpbox into the demo server, so we don't actually log into the Jumpbox. So let's go ahead and try this. SSH -j jump user at 52 or 51 is the Jumpbox, and we're at port 2222. And it goes back and forth. Sometimes I have to use the -p and then the port, or and other times I have to use the :2222. Haven't quite figured out what the difference is, and or why it's different. Let's see, and we are going to be connecting to demo at 192.168.1.52, and that stays just like that because we're connecting on port 22 on the host machine. So let's go ahead and see if this works. This should secure shell us all the way into the host machine, and if not, then I kind of have an idea if it doesn't work why it didn't work. So let's go ahead and just do this. Oh, there you go. So we've connected all the way through. So I guess my configuration was right to begin with. Took a break and lost track of where I was. So we're good. We've secure shelled through the Jumpbox and directly into our host machine. So that's exactly what we're trying to accomplish. So let me see. I think our next step here will be to update our profile. That might be a good idea. Update our profile so that we can just type a command and it automatically does all of this and connects us to the other system without having to type all this big long SSH-J and all of this other stuff. So let's go ahead and do that next. So let me see. What we need is, see if I can do this. I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to go through the, okay, so here's our .ssh folder. So what we need to do is we need to create a new file, and we'll name it config. And we have to adjust that eventually. It's not a config file, it's not a text file. So what we have to do is we have to do a save all files and then put quotes around our config. And let me go ahead and close this and see what we have here. So this is our file. So we've changed the file type that way. This is the file type that we need. So remember, put quotes around it to create the proper file type. So let's go ahead and open this. Notepad. And let's see. We'll do a host Jumpbox. And let's do 2 tabs or 2 spaces. Host name, and this will be the IP, which is 51. And here we have port host. All right. And user will be jump user. And the identity file will be tilde/.ssh ID underscore ed 519. Okay, that may not be accurate, but we'll see. And then let's see, host is host 1, I guess. And let's see, host name. '52. And let's see, user. And our user here is host, or not host, but demo. Then our identity file. It's the same as up there. SSH, and then ID, ED. I believe it's 25519. And let me confirm. Yep, 25519, so good. And our last entry here will be proxy jump, and Jumpbox will be our proxy jump system. Okay, that's it for that file. This should be the end of our configuration. If we're successful, then we should be able to SSH to host 1, and it should authenticate through the Jumpbox and into the host system on the other end, just like it did when we typed out the long command before. So let's go ahead and save this, close this out, and let's see. So yeah, this is the long command we used before. So in this case, we should be able to, first we need to exit out of this. Okay, now we're back on our local machine, our Windows machine here. So we should be able to do a SSH host 1, and if we've done this correctly, it should log us in just like it did with this longer command up here. We'll try it and see what happens. And there we are. We've connected successfully to the host on the other end, and we're good. Now there are other methods or other things you can do to lock this down even further, the Jumpbox, but this is the basic concept, and this is a usable system. You can do some research and test out other configurations that make Jumpbox more secure, more hardened. But for now, I think we're good here, and I think we're going to go ahead and end the video. So if you like my video, please click the like button and also subscribe to my channel. I have a bunch of other stuff on here that may be useful. And let's see. I guess I will see you next time. Thanks, everyone.